Okay, hi everyone. Morning. Welcome to our session for Microsoft Student Ambassadors. Today is going to be a bit of a special session. We're going to be focusing on Microsoft Power Apps and the Power Platform, which is essentially building apps with very little to no code whatsoever. We'll also maybe take a little time after this for the Imagine Cup, which is a huge and amazing competition that Microsoft hosts. It's an international competition where students from around the world come up with ideas, come up with projects that either are great ideas just as a technical venture or are a potential business, and they receive amazing prizes, including lots and lots of money, going from $75,000 to $135,000. Mentorship from top executives, both from Microsoft, including Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and other venture capitalists and basically just big people in the tech industry. And going beyond that, I see we've got right now a few people online, but hopefully more and more will join. And we've got quite a few people here on campus at HIT. So thanks for everybody who's joining either online or off. Yeah, let's just try and see how this will go from now on, and let's get started. So the first thing I'll do is actually play a bit of a video on Power Apps, introducing you guys to what they are, what they're all about, what they do, and we'll go from there. Let me see here, just give me a second. Cancel this screen sharing and go into the second one. Where's this video? Doesn't seem to be showing. Okay, let me just go to my full screen and then just share the video from there. Let's see. Okay, it's there. Okay. Hopefully everyone will be able to hear both those on and offline. If you have any problems, there's a question and answer section in the live feed, so you can just write a comment or a question there. If you can't hear anything properly, if you're having problems seeing anything properly for those who are online, just talk to me from there. But let's begin. Oh, I'm really sorry. I don't know what happened there. Automatically standardizing all kinds and different types of data across your organization from what data styles to these labs that work cheaply for departments individually. So say value counting builds an app, it's all levels of custom data, many forms you use, sales meetings, browsing, logistics, legal, marketing, even HR. With the organization. If you want to take your apps to the next level, you can add this function. AI can handle this, the chatbots, interactive apps, script forms, which you can have IoT. Our apps is designed to work with proposals, development fields, and platforms. So professional developers can jump outputs and develop projects and speed up and okay, so sorry for a bit of the technical, sorry for a bit of the technical issues there, but hopefully you guys got an idea of what Power Apps are. Now we're actually going to go on to Microsoft Learn, which is where, again, we always do most of our technical exercises or tutorials in this case. But yeah, let's log on to learn. That already kind of looked at the activity we're going to be doing today so that you guys know what we're dealing with. But basically, this is an introduction to Microsoft Power Apps and the Power Platform. If the video didn't explain it for you, I'll try and simplify it for you a little bit. So what Microsoft Power Apps are, it's essentially an easy way of building mostly business or organizational oriented apps, right? Through using pretty much almost no code. These are what some people call low code editors or low code app builders, which is basically when you build an app using some program that allows you to build that app with very little code. The reason for this is because we've at least progressed in tech enough to know that some bits of code really don't need to be written over and over again, right? It might be really easy code that can, what's it called, be put into a set program. And that means it makes it easier for people who don't know how to write any code to access it and to start some of that stuff. So as you saw in the Power Apps video, they were talking about how you could be a salesperson, right? But that creates a form for taking in user data. Now, that form is probably on a website or something. If you're used to how most of us do things, you're probably going to have to go to a web development class, learn how to build a form. That's not something that's the longest thing ever, but it does take more time than, let's say, if you could just open what looks like a blank page and drag and drop everything you want there easily. So that's what Power Apps is for. And whilst it might seem limited in some scope, it's always great in terms of, it's always great in terms of introducing more and more people to code and more people to different solutions. Because one thing you learn when you guys start entering the field is that it's not all the time that you really want to make the hardest or the longest to make application or the most robust. Sometimes what you think you want, an application that's built natively for Android and runs natively for Android, you might just want to build a website. Or when even a website takes too long, you might want to build a Power App. So as you go out in the industry, you realize that due to time, due to certain constraints, due to budget even, sometimes it's better to make something that's easier to make and much faster to make, even if technically it might be a little less capable than what you're used to making. So let's jump right in. As we said, we're doing this on Learn. So as you can see here, it says, get started with Power Apps, Canvas apps, right? You'll often see on Microsoft Learn courses or modules that there's sort of tags that tell you a little bit of what to expect or what each module is related to. So one, it's beginner friendly. Two, it's actually also for business users, right? Yes?
Yes, where do you find that module? Sorry.
Where do I find that module? Okay, sure. Let's try and actually navigate it right from the start. So we just say Learn here, if I click. We'll go right to the beginning, I believe. Oh yeah, another thing. I was going to share this in the group, but Microsoft Ignite, which is a developer conference, is going to be starting next week. It's a free digital event, as it's written there. You should definitely check it out, just out of new technology, the new tools that will be advertised. But also, I've said this before, if you've ever listened to any of our student ambassador sessions, it's usually during developer conferences like this that you might find vouchers on Microsoft Learn for certifications. You might find vouchers for trying out certain courses that might be locked behind a paywall, etc., etc. So check it out. You often find something that benefits you. But okay, so we went to my homepage, and my homepage already has this right at the top because I already checked it out a bit. But let's go. We can go. It says roles here. I think if we just scroll down to the bottom. Oh wait, no, that's what it says too. So let's go. It says products. Right at the bottom, so it says browse all learn paths. You click that. You should go to the page that pretty much has everything. As we've said, Microsoft Learn pretty much splits things up according to roles, according to learning paths, according to programming languages, tools, products, and even your skill level, as is written here. So I'm near certain if we say beginner, right, and we say learning path, right, these are filters for searching. And I think if we just search Power Apps here, and we'll find something. There we go. So there's the course we're taking today, create a Canvas app in Power Apps, right? We click that, and I think we'll be ready to start. There's another video here about the Power Platform. I think maybe we might play it later. I feel like since we've already played one, we can just jump right in, and then you guys can check it out, though, and you definitely check out this course later, which is kind of expected, so take some time afterwards, please. I'll check in on all of you individually, including those who are online. Yes, I can see you. Anyway, let's jump back into this. So, oh wow, yeah, it jumped right to where I was, which was part 6 out of this, but let's go back to right at the start. So it'll tell you how many units or how many parts of this they are, right? I think the original time rating was written, but now it's writing 14 minutes left since I was almost done. But yeah, it also gives you a rating, I mean, an estimate for how much time they're likely going to take. So all of this is to just make all of this easier for you guys so that you know how much time you want to invest into it. You can also, balance your life around it. Even when you're a student, you've usually got other things to do. So knowing that you can just put an hour into this is at least a little better. But okay, so this is one of part of a larger learning path. And the modules are part of these learning paths. Create a Canvas app in Power Apps, learn the basics of Power BI desktop, and prepare to complete the project specialist technical achievement. That's stuff that we'll cover later though, so let's just jump right into it. Let's go right from the start here. Introduction to Power Apps, right? Power Apps is a suite of apps, services, connectors, and a data platform that provides you with an opportunity to build custom apps for your business needs. By using Power Apps, you can quickly build custom business apps that connect to your business data that is stored either in an underlying data platform, Microsoft Dataverse, or in various online or on-premises data sources such as SharePoint, Excel, Office 365, Dynamics, SQL Server, and so on. Basically, what it's saying here is if you have a business, right, and your business might store its data in different places, right? Power Apps are able to work with data that's either stored online on some cloud somewhere, usually a Microsoft one, in this case, Microsoft Dataverse, or on stuff that's stored on premises. Because when you start working in the industry, you'll realize, especially if you're in the IT field side of things, like proper IT and not software development or computer science sometimes, but don't you find that there too? Basically, okay, corporates tend to like to have their own servers, right? So the cloud is great, but corporate companies tend to like to have a server that they keep on premises or on their premises for whatever reason. And often when you have a server, you may use things like Microsoft SharePoint or data stored in Excel or Office 365 for that. All right, so apps that are built by using Power Apps provide rich business logic and workflow capabilities to transform your manual business process to digital automated processes. Power Apps simplifies the custom business app building experience by enabling users to build feature-rich apps without writing any code. Power Apps also provide an extensible platform that lets pro developers programmatically interact with data and metadata, apply business logic, create custom connectors, and integrate with external data. That might sound a little scary for some of you, but basically they essentially allow you to interact with the data in your system, connect to the data with your system, apply logic of how that data should work or where it should flow and how it should go on and so on, and integrate even with external data that's coming from other sources. So this diagram pretty much sums it up. Connect to the data and systems you're already using. right? Create apps or forms and workflows without writing any code. Use apps on any device, whether a mobile or web device. So what we're talking about, sometimes you want to build a full Android app, other times you realize a website is okay, or a Power App actually pretty much does the work that you might have wanted a full app or website to have done. So great. Sorry. With Power Apps, you can build an app quickly by using Cortana. Come on, man. Sorry about that. With Power Apps, you can build an app by using the skills that you already have. Connect to cloud services and data sources you're already using. Share apps instantly so that coworkers can use them on their phones and tablets, as is shown here, right? So when it comes to using Power Apps to get things done and keep people informed, your options are actually nearly limitless. The following examples can help you think about how to use an app instead of traditional paper notes to run your business. Equipment in the field, often company representatives who visit customers in the field carry clipboards to help guarantee a paper trail of parts with scheduled replacement dates. By running an app on a tablet, reps can look up a customer's equipment, see a picture of the part, sit and analyze the part, then order new ones. Reps can then perform these tasks on site instead of leaving the customer's warehouse. Restaurant employee management. Employees in a large restaurant may fill out work schedules and vacation requests on a piece of paper that's affixed to the wall. With Power Apps running on everyone's smartphones, employees can simply open that app to record the same information anywhere at any time. The app can even send reminders for the start of the day's next shift. Right, so if you're a beginner with Power Apps, this module gets you going quickly. If you're familiar, it ties the concepts together and fills in the gaps. So let's go. Right, the next unit is the building blocks of Power Apps. So the building blocks of Power Apps are as follows. Power Apps is a collection of app services and connectors that let you work together and let you do much more than just view your data. You can act on it and update it anywhere from any device. This unit explores each part of the following Power Apps components. Number one, the Power Apps homepage. I'm going to open this in another tab and then we'll go on to it when it's time. Power Apps Studio, Power Apps Mobile, and the Power Apps Admin Center, right? The Power Apps homepage. If you're building an app, you'll start with the Power Apps homepage. You can build apps from sample apps and templates, from sample apps, templates, or from a blank screen. All the apps that you built will appear here, along with the apps that others have created and shared with you. So I think you guys can see a bit of it, but we'll go into it and then you'll be able to see it for real. Power Apps Studio, right? Power Apps Studio is where you can develop your apps to make them more effective as a business tool and to make them more attractive. Power Apps Studio has 3 panels or 3 panes that make creating apps seem more like building a slide deck in Microsoft PowerPoint. So the left pane shows a hierarchical view of all the controls on each screen, or a thumbnail of each screen in your app. So that should be the left pane right there. The middle one shows the canvas of the app that you're working on, so which is right here. In the right pane, a set of options such as the layout properties and data sources. So right here. And this is all basically like to control the app that's here, right? So apparently in this case, there's a few buttons, there's an image, and in the right pane, you can see that you're dealing with the home screen, what it's supposed to do. But again, we'll get into that. Power Apps Mobile, right? Power Apps Mobile for Windows, iOS, and Android lets you, and Android devices allows you to use all the apps that you've created and those others have shared with you on your mobile device. You or your users can download Microsoft Power Apps from the appropriate app store. When users sign in with their credentials, they will see all apps that have been shared with them. The Power Apps mobile app only needs to be downloaded once. And when you use a Power Apps mobile, you get the most out of your device's capability. So camera controls, GPS location, and more. So these would be some samples of that. So there's an asset checkout app, budget tracker, cost estimator, etc., etc. Right. Now the Microsoft Power Platform Admin Center. Microsoft Power Platform Admin Center is the centralized place for managing Power Apps of an organization. On this site, you can define and manage different environments to house the apps. For example, you might have separate environments for development and for production of apps. Additionally, you can define data connections and manage environment roles and data policies. Right, so exercise. Create your first Power App, your first app in Power Apps. Let's jump right into this. In this unit, just make sure everything's still working here at Teams. Okay, great. Hey there, 8 attendees. Awesome. In this unit, you will generate a mobile app where the data source is a Microsoft Excel workbook that's stored in Microsoft OneDrive for Business. This Excel workbook lists the company's inventory of flooring samples with pictures and prices. Keep in mind that you can use data from any other sources, including SharePoint, cloud services like Salesforce, and on-premises sources like a Microsoft SQL Server. Before you begin, watch this video for a brief overview of what to expect when you're creating your first app. So we'll watch this and see what we're dealing with, and then we'll go from there. Let's see, let's try and play this. Okay, so I don't think that was confusing, but basically, if you notice, all you was doing here was creating a power app based off of the Excel spreadsheet, right? So I just need to quickly check something in the team. Some people were talking about audio issues. See, guys, please tell me and write in the question and answer section if you can't hear anything. Some of you are saying that's an issue, so if you can't hear anything, please tell me and I'll get to that. Audio is breaking up, can't hear a thing now. Sorry, that's probably my connection, or let me see, let me announce that. Try and work on the audio. Just publish this. Right, going back into the section. I think it was because we were streaming this and that might have been what was breaking it up. But if you can hear me properly now, please just state that. So as we were talking about, especially for those who are online who maybe couldn't hear, essentially what was going on there was a power app that was built mainly using an Excel spreadsheet. Mostly what was happening there also was the example of that power app was essentially it sort of seemed like a bit of a shopping app. It seemed like for specific types of carpets or what's it called? Floor tiles, exactly. Sorry. Thank you. But yeah, if you essentially want to make maybe what is an inventory app for your whichever shop or retail chain you might work in, or maybe something that could eventually be spun off into something that's for shopping, you could use Power Apps for that. So what he was doing there was basing off that, based off of an Excel spreadsheet. You can base it off of something like an SQL database or a SharePoint or something that's more complex, but that was really something really easy to start with. So now, in order to do the same, the first thing we do is connect to a data source, right? So let's do that, open this in a new thing. This is what flooring estimates workbook, right? And we're gonna have to save it to OneDrive for Business. So do that. I'm pretty sure I can. Sorry, let me see here. Actually, No, do I still have OneDrive for Business stored here, or I can? No, I think I'm just gonna have to log in online. So let me do that in another link. OneDrive for Business shouldn't be hard, but this is from another SharePoint. So let me open it independently so that I don't cause any problems. Yeah, sure. Just get me in, please. Sign in. Thank you very much. Sorry, internet issues. Just give me a second. Oh, come on. I feel like as soon as I said internet issues, that's when it actually stopped connecting. Let me see here. Hoping my data is still behaving. It is, but it's definitely not on my side. Please connect. Okay, this is actually a problem. You see here. Scroll back. Okay, it's going back here. It just doesn't want me to sign in. Okay, now I think it's cached or not cached. I'm gonna, because I think even if I try to reload this is working just fine. See? Yeah. I don't know why this is giving me a specific amount of trouble. Sorry guys, this is just internet issues. Let me see if maybe I am trying to open it with another browser. Try with Edge. Which ironically, I'm near certain someone from Microsoft might go like, that's the browser you should have been using anyway. Which I should have been using anyway. I do use it. I just also use that in Firefox in tandem. Okay, let's try and log in from here.
If it works, then you know why.
Now, if it works, then clearly Microsoft was. Oh, there we go. It worked. Clearly, I should have been using Edge this whole time. I will apologize both to everyone in this class and to Microsoft for my mistake. But
I've been using Edge this whole time.
Okay, so good for you. You clearly make better life choices than I do. All right, let's see if we can continue this. Okay, great. I'm near certain this is all working out. So I just need to say this here. I think if I just put it in the basic, yeah, if I just put in the basic files, please. Should be right. There we go. So if I upload this, uploading one item, there, it's already done. Now let's go back here. You know, the forbidden or bad browser. We go to make.powerapps.com and sign in with our organizational account. I think I had already opened this. This should be it. Okay, Microsoft Student Partner Environment. It's in my Student Partners account. Yeah, I think we're all good to go. We'll do that. We will discover colleagues apps, but right now let's see what we can make from this end. Okay, so if we do this, let's go back to our little guide here. On the home screen, under Start from Data section, select Other Sources, right? So we go here, we click Other Data Sources. Click that, should be launching. Cortana, I didn't say you. Okay, I control you. Please choose your country or region to get started. No need to act like I'm in the United States unless if I can't find Zimbabwe, which I can't. So
SA, I think it's close.
yeah, South Africa. Nah, you know what? If I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna properly lie. I'm in the United States. I don't care. Okay, let's see. South Africa might have been better for a closer data source. Now that I think about it, but I think I'm okay. Right. Sorry. Oh yeah, I was supposed to have gone here. Okay. We've already chosen this. Generated apps are always going to be based on a single list or a table, but you can add more data to the app later. The next 4 steps explain how to connect to that Excel workbook that we have uploaded, right? So in the new tab section under connections, select OneDrive for Business and browse to the file location. You might need to select the new connection to see the OneDrive for Business connection. So let me just do this to make it a little easier, like so that we can trace both things at the same time. Drag this out here, snap this here, snap that here. Can you guys still see? Let me make sure the guys online can see properly too. Let me see here on Teams. Yeah, they can see. Seems like they're okay. Hopefully it's clear for you guys. But if I click new connection here, right? Yeah, under connections, click new connection here. I did click this. Oh, sorry, my bad. So OneDrive for Business. Let's see if we, and just to see how many different types of connections you can have an Amazon AWS Redshift, Apache, Box. Let's see, Dropbox. So Google Drive. You can actually go into a lot of. Okay. By the way, we have a Google DSC member here, and he's clearly happy that he sees Google Drive and Google Sheets connected. Ignore him, he doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's connect to OneDrive for Business. Please, let's select OneDrive for Business, I mean. Okay, so yeah, hello. Am I supposed to click something else? I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry guys, I had to go into full screen. So I'm near certain, just a double check for you guys. Yeah, collect and choose. Yeah, we can just create that connection. It's fine. Yeah, internet is not on my side today, but it seems like it's still working out. I think the problem is there is a strain of streaming it whilst also running this. So that's why if I could use another connection for streaming, it would probably be a little easier. Sorry guys for the delay, but promise it's all going to work out. Okay, there you go. So the connection is there now. And because the connection is there, you can see actually flooring estimates.xlsx, which is that Excel file. And we can just select that. And just make sure we're doing everything according to plan, of course. Just snap this for a minute. Choose an Excel file, right? Choose a table, select flooring estimates table, which is right here. Select connect right at the bottom. So do that. And loading, it's getting things ready. Right, it's loading up the app, so give it a bit. You can take time to look at the loading animations because again, it's a little slower today. I'm sorry. This is interesting though. I like this. I'm gonna save this for something else. Sorry. This is how I function. I see things I like. I intend to take them for later use. There we go. Welcome to Power App Studio. Start customizing your app or preview your app, right? We can see the preview later. I think right now, let's actually explore the application we've got and see what we can do with it. So let's skip this. Let's go full screen for a minute and let's look at everything, right? So this is our app. So remember we already had like imported that Excel file. So basically a lot of that data has already been laid out for us. We can customize and change it, which we will a bit, but basically you can really see what we're dealing with you, right? So if we look at it, these are the 3 panes that we talked about, which is like the left pane pretty much gives us a lot of controls of our app, see what's there, all of the different aspects of it, etc. The right app, if you click on something, it'll give you its properties, and you can now change some of those properties. So I clicked on it. Let me try and zoom in here for you guys. Yeah, I think that's better. I clicked on this label here, and the label pretty much already gave me what the label says, which font it is, which font size. We can even sort of play around with that. I think if we just change this to 12, see what happens. They're like a, see, it's already changed to 12. It's already gotten a little smaller. Put it back to 18 just for uniformity's sake. But this is actually really a glimpse of how easy it is to manage a Power App. It's literally just that, okay? No hours of code, no what's it called, trying to figure out what an int or a string is, though you should figure out what an int or a string is at some point. But yeah, it's a lot easier. Right, let's go back into some of the instructions here. So select play in the upper right corner to practice using the app. Notice that it includes all data from the table and provides a good default experience. All apps that are generated from data at the same screens that you can view from the screens page. The browse screen, there's the detail screen, and there's the edit or create screen, right? So these are common screens that are there on all apps that are generated from a table. Sorry. To make the app visible on the phone, it needs to be saved. So you'll select File, Save As. Let's maybe play with that play button at the top right corner before we go into this. So we're told that we can see here. There we go. If we click this button right here, we can sort of play with it, play the app and see what it does. So, okay, so this is our app, right? This is like an emulation of what the app does, how it works. Let's see here. I can play around with touch here. So there, if I click that, it actually goes to like a details screen of the thing. So that should be the details. If I say plus over here, I can add a new image, new name, new overview, price, and all of that is actually going to go on that Excel sheet that we talked about. So this is basically how easy it is to start messing around with this thing. So I'm very sorry. That's a pretty good preview of things, and we can search for items here. So let's see, let's go right. This is just written as tile. So I think we go right to the top here. See, oh, you don't, okay. Search items, not yet. Okay, that one's not my friend yet, so we'll deal with that another time. But if we just exit that, click over here. So let's see. Did you know you could also test your app right on the canvas by holding down the Alt key to activate buttons and other controls? Oh, wow, as well as double clicking to type in the controls. We've already done the double clicking thing, but this is actually good to know. Tips on using Power App Studio. Right, so let's go into what Learn was telling us about saving it. So to make it visible on your phone, select File, Save As, replace the current title app with Flooring Estimates app. Let's actually just copy this so that we paste it later. And then select Save. You'll see a green check mark when all the changes are saved successfully, and you can now open the app on your phone. I actually probably am showing a little bit of extra excitement with that one, but it's just because it makes it really easy, and I love the fact that you can go from something that's here, something that works on your mobile device without having to really jump into mobile development, which is often cool for a lot of people. So right here, right now we're saving it to the cloud, I believe. You can save it onto your computer and ship it onto your phone later, but for now I think we'll start with saving to the cloud. So say, oh wait, I didn't change the name. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I think we'll be able to save as later though, so thankfully. Okay, so you see, this is the first version, but clearly I made a mistake. Don't make my mistake when you're doing this again. So if I click save as, the name already exists here, you know, so we're going to change it to flooring estimates app, right? And if we save it now, it should save the way it was supposed to have saved. Give it a sec. There we go. Now the next step, you can actually share this, and I believe this will be sharing a link to the app and how you can access it. But let's just go with the next step that's highlighted here, which is download the Power Apps mobile app from your app store for the platform that you want to use. Sign in by using your username and password, and on your phone or tablet, run the Flooring Estimates app in Power Apps mobile. If you do not want to install the app, you can run it in a browser like we're doing now. If you do not see the Flooring Estimates app, then in your Power Apps mobile app, select the hamburger menu on the top left and toggle Show Production App. Show Non-Production Apps. Sorry. So we've already built this one. I believe Tinashe already has it, so you'll have to log in with my credentials to do that, unless if you had already created your own there. Yeah, because someone always likes being ahead of the curve. Anyway, I don't know. Is it there? Is it actually already running? If I could just show everyone for a second. Everyone who's online, don't worry. What I'm showing them is essentially what we did when we were running it there, but this is essentially the app running on Tinashe's phone already. So see, then it's already done. So great. Huge camera bump. Sorry, nerd moment. But anyway, there you go. Very nice. Jumping back into this, let's continue to ways to build Power Apps, right? So let's go back to Firefox full time for a minute. No. Going full screen. Okay, ways to build Power Apps. This unit describes how to create an app. Oh yeah, another thing that you guys might have noticed, each part of a module, or each unit rather, also gives you a time frame. So you can kind of get an idea of if it's longer or shorter. It's not really something that you constantly have to pay attention to, but it's helpful if you're, under pressure. The unit describes how to create an app from a template, a blank canvas, and a data source. This learning path is focused on Canvas apps, which give you the flexibility to arrange the user experience and interface the way you want it. You can get started in many different ways, however, and for all of the options, you will use Power App Studio features and functionality to build your app. A good way to create an app is to start from a template, right? Templates use sample data to help you determine what's possible. By opening templates in Power App Studio, you can learn hands-on how an app is built. For example, you can build a budget tracker template to create an app that helps you track the budget for projects and events with custom categories. Simple data entry, visuals that highlight the expenditures for an effortless inspection. Create an app for a data source. Another way is to generate an app from your own data, right? Simply point Power Apps to the data source of your choice, for example, a list in Microsoft SharePoint or Microsoft Dataverse, and watch as Power Apps automatically build the 3-screen app. This 3-screen app lets you display, edit, delete, and create records. A special data source is SharePoint. Modern lists in SharePoint and Power Apps have a tight integration. You can either build an app from within SharePoint, or you can use Power Apps to customize your modern list forms, right? So this is actually in Microsoft SharePoint here. You can see this, and there's someone looking at their data, and right from there, you can actually just go create a Power App. Just actually really cool. The following app was from a SharePoint list and lets you customize the items in the list. View item list, create and edit items. After Power Apps generates an app, you can customize it to make it look and behave exactly the way you want it to, right? So this is our flooring estimates app again, right there. Or you can build from a blank canvas. You can build an app from the ground up and add all the pieces as you go. You can then branch out and use your imagination, right? Now, the next unit is Power App related technologies. Let's go. So this was actually where oh no, I was on 6, but very good. Let's take a look at technology, related technology used by Power Apps. Data sources, connections, and gateways, so that you guys understand the building blocks. In Power Apps, most Canvas apps use external information that is stored in data sources. A common example is a table in an Excel file that is stored in OneDrive for business or SharePoint. Apps access these data sources by using connections. Some connections allow Power Apps to read and write stored data. Sorry. In Power Apps, you can add many data sources to your apps through built-in or custom connectors. Some of the most popular data sources are shown in the following figure. So some of the things you saw here, right? So SharePoint, SQL Server, Dynamics, Office 365 Outlook, Excel, OneDrive, Dropbox, etc., etc. Sorry, no Google Drive this time. Just so you know. Where? Nah, I didn't see it. Anyway, many data sources are cloud services, right? Like Salesforce. Even Twitter can be a data source, for example, if you're tracking a company's hashtags. I would suggest not using Twitter as a data source if you're tracking Zimbabwean companies, because let me put this in vernacular. So you don't want that in your application. Anyway, continuing. Right, connectors might seem like the most exciting part of app development. However, might not seem like the most exciting part of app development. However, they're essential when you work with data that you, your colleagues, and your customers care about, which is true. If you're making this all about data, which pretty much Power Apps are all about, then you need to know your data sources. When an app shows up with your data for the first time, you might suddenly find that they are, in fact, a little exciting. For data that's stored on premises instead of the cloud, you can use a gateway to provide a reliable connection between Power Apps and your data source. The gateway sits on an on-premises computer and communicates with Power Apps. An advantage of building your business in Power Apps is being able to connect to many data sources in a single app. With the connectors in Power Apps, you can connect to where your data lives. To learn more about data sources in Power Apps, refer to the Working with Data learning path, which we will cover at another point, but let's go on with this today. So these are the data sources. Mr. Google Drive there is feeling a little good about himself. You too, apparently. But yeah, then there's the Microsoft Dataverse, right? So an important data source to explore further is Dataverse. Dataverse lets you store and manage data that's used by business applications. Data within the Dataverse is stored within a set of tables. A table is a set of records that are used to store data. Similar to how tables stores data within a database. Dataverse includes a base set of standard tables that cover typical scenarios. But of course, you can also create custom tables that are specific to your organization and then populate them with data by using Power Query. App makers can then use Power Apps to build rich applications by using this data. So here's an idea of what that is. Basically, this is based on the Microsoft Power Platform, right? And that includes Power BI, Power Apps. Power BI is for business analytics. Power Apps is apps. Power Automate is for process automations, and Power Virtual Agents is intelligent virtual agents. This includes chatbots and so on. Right. For more information on purchasing a plan to use Dataverse, refer to the licensing and pricing information pages. But we have no money, so we're going to skip that for now. Reasons to use Dataverse, though. We just said we have no money, but fine. Standard and custom tables within Dataverse provide a cloud-based storage option for your data. Tables let you create business-focused definition of your organization's data. for use within apps. If you're unsure if tables are your best option, consider the following benefits. They're simple to manage. Both the metadata and data are stored in the cloud. You don't need to worry about the details of how they're stored. It helps you secure data. Data is stored so that users can see it only if you want to grant them access. Role-based security allows you to control access for tables with different users within your community. And then you can access to Dynamics 365 data, this rich metadata, this login and validation, this productivity tools. That was more on Dataverse, but we'll talk about that later. We're going to take a short moment to kind of just see if everyone is still on the same page. For starters, is everyone understanding what we're talking about here, mainly? Any questions at the moment from class? No one? You guys? You cool?
Suggestion.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, actually for some of the party with that's about the GitHub student page, they can actually get the answers.
You're awesome. Right, so, okay, yeah, and we have a few questions, I mean, a few comments from within the, from within the question and answer section here. Would you mind, guys, if you have any questions, please ask them. It's totally cool. Just let us know. Okay, so I'll try and work on the other. So Given was saying that Power Apps is like full stack Firebase to a certain extent, but it's also different. But I like that you're at least getting the idea of essentially creating an app from scratch, and all of the parts that you need to create the app are pretty much within Power Apps. The same way that if you're using full stack Firebase, for those of you who know it, you can create and finish an app within Firebase. Someone came with a weird comment there. We're not going to go into that. Right, so I'm glad that you guys are getting it. Let's all try and like continue for a second. Sorry, additional Power Apps related technologies. Also, just to, sorry guys, please, sorry. As Taguzo was talking about here, there's the GitHub student pack, which I'm hoping everyone who's in this session can actually talk about and jump into. But basically, it's a pack that GitHub gives you if you have a student account from any school that you're working with. And if it gives you certain benefits that are Microsoft related or GitHub related, this is because, of course, Microsoft owns GitHub, so you gain a few benefits. And in the GitHub student pack, some of the things that were required for Power BI, for Dataverse, all of that stuff that we said requires money. If you get the GitHub student pack, you can get it for free. I already posted about a course that required the GitHub student pack in the Microsoft Student Ambassadors Club. The club WhatsApp group, if you want to maybe check that out, that would be great. I'll post it again, just in case you haven't seen it. But yeah, I'm gonna ask for a bit of a favor. Taguzo, do you mind coming and reading some of this? I just have to step out for a second, just a second. You can just continue reading most of the stuff. It's pretty much self-explanatory from here. So guys, one of the committee members, Takuto, will be coming here and finishing off a few parts. I'll be back in, I think, 5 minutes. It's just for me, don't worry. You'll be good. You got this?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. We'll be back. Sorry, I need a case. Thank you.
Here, the additional Power Apps related technologies. Microsoft Power Apps works with other technologies to help you build Power Apps for your organizations, including Power Automate, which is building automated workflows to receive notifications, run processes, collect data, and more, which is basically a cool thing, because to receiving notifications and processing, collecting data is what probably every application does, and everyone will be needing those special notifications. Then again, the Power BI, which allows to connect data from multiple sources and transform the data into graphical visualizations and gain insights. Related Microsoft Power App technologies are, as you continue developing the applications, you may want to consider implementing other Power Apps related technologies, which are the first ones we talked about, Power Automate and Power BI. You may have a simple expense report that requires an approval before an item can be purchased, or a Power Automate, you can create a flow to make this happen, or maybe you want to display your data with custom charts and graphs, giving your users a more visual into the area. So powerful alone or better together with Power Apps or Power BI or Power Automate. So looking much into Power Automate, this brings automation to a business. This can be traditional workflows via flow, robotic process automation for automating legacy systems via desktop flow, or business process automation via business process flows. Each of these capabilities increases your productivity to connect disjointed systems to build the business solutions you need to make or to make your app more powerful. You can use the Power Automate to create logic that performs one or more tasks when an event occurs in a Canvas app. For example, configuring a button to execute a flow to do one of the following things: create an item in SharePoint list, sending an email or meeting request, or adding a file to OneDrive. The button could be configured to do also those in a single Power Automate flow. You can configure any control in the app to start the flow, which continues to run even if you close the apps. So here is the flow. You can have the Power Apps. You can send an email. For example, this one was being sent to the HR with test emails for. So you can give your body with the details from what we created, the date and the comments and stuff. Identifying the flaws in the solution. Now that you'll be having a general overview of the Power Automate, you can determine if the solution you're building requires a flow. There are many simple functions Power Apps that can do, like sending an email when a button is pressed in an application. This email generated from Power Apps can also contain dynamic or specific information and can be sent to any email address that you would like. That means, for example, a Gmail account or those custom domains emails. So often customers will use Power Automate to create this same functionality, even though Power Apps can do this out of the box. Power Automate should be used for more complex solutions, such as the approval workflow. With Power Automate, you can run an approval when a button is pressed, or when a schedule, or when an item is created or modified, and so on. For many Power Apps solutions, Power Automate is used to handle complex business logic. Do you need a way to make sure someone acted on the incident report that was generated by your app? Or do you need a process to kick off every time new data is created in another system, so Power Apps will have the data it needs? Do you need to check each morning to see if an inspection is due that day, and then send an email with a link to your Power App inspection form? These are great uses of Power Automate to transform your app from a point solution to a fully featured business solution. And finally, the Power BI. Power BI is an analytics tool within Microsoft Power Platform suite. Power BI connects data from multiple sources and transforms the data into graphical visualizations to gain insights. It allows business users to utilize many different visualizations to build comprehensive reports and dashboards. When creating a Power BI reports to view and analyze your app data, you have the ability to customize them for personal use and will only be accessible by you, providing you a more unique and custom experience. You need to share the report with others. You and each of the report consumer will need a Power BI Pro license. This license allows you not only share the content, but also control what others are able to do with, say, shared reports and dashboard. While Power Apps has the capabilities to include simple graphs or tables, many solutions will be better served with a visualization provided by Power BI. Power Apps and Power BI have two options for seamless integration. One which is embedded in Power BI tile in Power Apps. By embedding a Power BI tile in a Power Apps solution, you're able to bring valuable visualizations into the app to allow the user to consume that data within the context of the app. Second, we have embedded a Power Apps app with a Power BI dashboard. Another integration between these two applications is to embed a Power Apps app in your Power BI reports. This allows the user to act on data while never leaving the dashboard, resulting in a better user experience. Considering an inventory management dashboard for a manufacturing facility, without leaving the dashboard, the user can submit to purchasing an order for other material. While the solution may be utilizing both the Power Apps and Power BI platforms, the user simply experiences a complete end-to-end solution in one window on their desktop. So in the example below, we'll be analyzing the sale price and profit by country and segment. Notice once you have embedded your Power App in a Power BI dashboard, you can navigate between screens. Here is an example of the example of the dashboard we're talking about, which includes the product details. You can have your country, the product, the segment you want, the month, the sales, and even the units sold, right? And then in this next screenshot, we'll be working with the same data as the previous example. You can utilize the native Power Apps features like search with Power BI data. This another example shows product details, I believe, with location and other things. Then in the other screenshot, for example, you'll be having an embedded Power App which is filtered by the Power BI selection. I guess everyone will be able to see it. Translating needs to an appropriate technology. To build the best solution, think throughout the use cases and determine how you want to collect the data, use the data, and analyze the data. Once you have determined how the solution will be used in each one of those cases, you can begin to select the right technology to execute each action. It will be difficult to cover every use case and decision point, but the number of steps in the solution process will aid you in determining which technology best suits your needs. Power Apps is great for performing simple solutions with minimal steps, but as your solutions become more complex and requires multiple steps, Power Automate will be the better solution. When deciding whether to use the basic charts, graphs, visuals that come with Power Apps out of the box or to utilize a more powerful software like Power BI, it really depends on the business solution and requirements. For example, if in your solution you are wanting to add some basic graphs or charts to improve the Power Apps overall look and feel while adding some visual flair for your users, Power Apps has you covered. On the other hand, if your solution requires in-depth analysis of your data and robust visuals, Power BI will be the best product for your solution. And keep in mind with Power BI, each app user will need another license on top of the Power Apps license. This is a small price to pay through if our solution refers to intuitive dashboards, charts, graphs, and several other features to help you get the most out of your solution. By identifying the needs of related Power Apps technologies in the solution and strategically implementing them, you will be able to provide your users with a better overall experience. So the next step will be to designing the Power Apps app.
Yeah, sure, no. Good job, man. Good job. Thank you. Again, I was Takuzwa, one of the committee members for the MSA community at HIT, but okay, designing a Power Apps app. I feel like you should just be able to say designing a Power App. Anyway, as an app maker, before you begin building your Power App solution, it's recommended to go through a design process, right? When you're designing a Power App solution, there are several different factors to consider, such as the business requirements, the data model, the user experience, UX, the user interface, UI. These two often work hand in hand, but they're not exactly the same thing. You should always be aware of that. Just making sure that everything is still good here, right? Okay, let's continue. And by going through a simple design process, you can flush out any minor issues before they become a larger problem, right? Once the app has been put into production, it is also important to understand that this design process is for Canvas apps. So in other words, when you're making a blank Canvas app. So how do you go from a simple blank? So how do you go from a simple blank Canvas app as seen below to a fully customized Canvas app solution, which is here, right? So understand the needs of the user. That's the first thing. For some of us, I think everyone in here has done courses like technopreneurship. Even if you haven't, you do courses like software, software project management, I believe. And some of you have high school computer science backgrounds, or let me turn this off, didn't realize it's on, very sorry. Wait, no, I'm building else on my computer. Mine was muted. Just mute it again. Okay, as I was saying, some of you have high school computer science backgrounds, and you may know what is called the system development lifecycle, or the software development lifecycle. If you don't know that, in Techno, you probably covered something called design thinking. It's really all about, both those processes are very similar in that they're based on creating a product, or in this case, creating an app based on first the user needs and what the core problem is, then prototyping it, testing it for a while, then releasing it, and probably constantly upgrading and updating it to be able to do more. But yeah, let's go back to here. Understanding the needs of the user. One of the most powerful and at the same time challenging parts of a Canvas app is that you start with a blank screen. This gives you the ability to build what you want, but to do that, you have to know what you want. In many cases, when purchasing software to solve a streamlined business solution, there are many business processes that don't quite fall within the software supported guidelines. When you run into this issue, typically, there are several internal discussions and meetings held to determine how those unsupported processes can be either updated or altered to meet the software requirements. For most organizations, this isn't ideal because of the cost or the time that, because of the cost or time that takes to update those business processes. The great news is, by using Power Apps to build your solution, you won't have to worry about unsupported business solutions. Why? With Power Apps, you can build a custom solution that is tailored to the exact needs of the business requirements. Often when building an app, you're tempted to recreate the piece of paper or legacy software-driven processes this is possible, but it might not be the ideal solution. By challenging the existing processes and asking what it is the business needs to do, not what the piece of paper does or what the old software does, it opens the possibility of better and more efficient processes. For example, oh wow, did I change that? My bad. Yes, you just saw my wallpaper. I'm embarrassed. Let's continue. Anyway, as I was saying, right, often when building an app, no, I passed this. Okay, so for example, maybe on the paper process, all they had to type notes about what they see. Would it not be better to just take a picture? This type of thinking will lead to better apps and better outcomes. Basically, what's going on here is they're talking about, often in businesses, and I've seen this in the field from my attachment or in internship time, in the field, there's going to be a lot of times when you're told to make, or when, I don't know, the boss decides that we might need a new system or we might need new software. And that's great. But the first thing they'll do is look at what the old software did and be like, okay, recreate that exactly. And well, what's the point of getting something new if you're just going to do the exact same thing that the old thing did? Often when you have the chance to start from scratch, you have the chance to also create something better from the start. So that's what it's talking about here with the example of maybe at first the old app would allow you to type in what you see, but now you can just take a picture of what you see. So that might be better. Okay, the business requirements. Every app you develop in a different set of business has a different set of business requirements based on the solution. Taking the time to think about all these requirements is key to rolling out a successful production app. Depending on the solution or many company policies, you may have certain security, privacy, or compliance requirements that you must follow. For example, let's say you're collecting personal information in the app. You'll want to ensure that this information is securely stored and not visible to everyone. During this process, you'll also want to identify any government regulations or authentication/authorization requirements, if applicable. You don't necessarily have to have all the answers to your questions here. You just want to know all the requirements. Right. The data model, related technologies module, you learned about some of the common data sources for building apps. But with all these choices, how do you actually decide which data source to use for a solution? Maybe you already have a data source implemented that users work with on a day-to-day basis, like SharePoint. Could you just use this as your data source to build your app? Do I need to connect multiple data sources? These are all common questions that you should ask yourself, and there are a number of factors to consider, such as the business requirements of your data source and the supported functionality is slightly different. So depending on your app requirements, you need to select the data source that supports your needs or modify your business requirements to comply with the supported functionality. Then the second is the licensing or cost. Certain data sources like Microsoft Dataverse/SQL are considered a premium data source, right? Premium data source will require each user who uses the app to have a Power Apps app plan or a Power Apps per user plan. For more information about licensing, see Power Apps pricing. Then there is the user experience/UX. By designing a Power Apps solution in a Canvas app, you have complete control of the end user experience. This allows you to fully customize nearly every aspect of your apps. However, just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that you should. When designing a Power Apps solution, your goal should be to keep it simple. When your end users open the application to begin with, they shouldn't have any confusion about what to click or where to go. If your app requires an extensive training program for answers to understand how to use it, you may want to rethink your app, right? So custom branding, some of the basic elements you might want to consider: custom branding, the logo and colors, pop-ups, hide or show buttons based on users' access/permissions. Right. One of the most common user experience enhancements that you can implement in your applications are pop-ups. By implementing pop-ups, you can provide the users with a simple but useful visual to confirm what the user has clicked on, went through, or maybe the pop-up acts as a loading screen as the logic in the backend is processed. For example, the screenshot below shows when a user clicks submit, we might have a simple pop-up displayed letting them know that their submission was successful. Okay, so click submit, I'm assuming, yeah, thank you for completing the survey. Okay. Without confirmation, a user may not be sure if their submission was accepted. These are general design guidelines that you guys should think about, even if you're not making a Power App, by the way. Make a website, if you make any other sort of app, if you make a desktop application. This is all stuff to think about because it all matters. Always give the user some sort of feedback to know that they're doing the right thing, the wrong thing, etc. We might not need to go into all of this because it's a lot, and I'm expecting you guys to at least go on and check it out afterwards. That includes everyone who's online. But, oh yeah, by the way, I actually hadn't said,
for everyone who can make the same Power App that we did just before, but also customize it. So maybe you'll customize the colors of the text, maybe you'll customize a picture or two if you can. Maybe you'll customize the description. I don't know. Anyone who can do that within this week and show me by the end of the week. I have some stickers from Microsoft that I got as part of my student ambassadors pack. You guys can reach out with those. I will literally get them to you the moment you want. So remember that. Anyway, let's continue. So this is about the user interface. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'll just read a bit of it. Use Visio to create a wireframe design. Wireframe is a visual representation of the applications let me actually start here. To fully customize the user interface or UI, you may want to consider a markup for your application. Two common ways are, as we said, using Visio to create a wireframe. A wireframe is a visual representation of the app's user interface. To begin, there are various website and mobile wireframe templates available, or you can start from a blank template again. These diagrams are a very quick way to show functionality and gain team consensus on design. Right? So it's basic, but it's a basic version of that. There's going to be some kind of item list here, and then you can click and there'll be item details, and then there'll be a shopping cart here. You're already sort of thinking of a shopping app, and you haven't really seen the app itself, but you kind of get the idea, right? So another thing is you can use Power Apps itself to create a markup of the application. Here you can actually add controls, graphics, forms, and other items to your app screens and play with the layout and the size for each element as if you're building the app for real. An example would be here, which is, I would say, a little easier and much quicker because you can go from here to actually getting into creating the app. But of course, as it says here, it really comes down to your preference and comfort with software that you're using to create the markup app. You should also consider licensing and cost, of course, when making this decision. Visio requires other licensing to get full functionality required for creating wireframe, whereas Power Apps, it doesn't matter which license you have. As long as you have Power Apps and sufficient permissions, you can create apps and markup apps. Right. There's actually more information here. If you just click here into what's it called? Sorry, planning Power Apps project. But now let's go to the second penultimate part, I believe. Okay, so here's a few questions. Okay, so I said I'm giving 3 stickers for anyone who does the project, right? I will give 4 stickers for anyone who answers the following questions. How many are there? There's 3 questions. So I'm opening this up even to people in the group, by the way, just to be clear. I don't know, someone say something? Nah, not important. Let's get this out of the way. Right, so I'm opening up the following questions and I'll give you guys, since you guys have a bit of lag, I'll give you I think a minute to answer and then we'll continue from there. Right, so number 1, where do you configure and customize your Power App? Here are the options. Number 1, in the Power Apps mobile app, in the Power Apps admin center, in Microsoft Dynamics 365, or in Power Apps Studio. I'll take an answer from here and I'll see if I can take an answer online. And we'll continue to the next question. All right. So in here, what's the answer? First come, first serve. Who wants to say? Okay. There you go, Manash. What? Power Apps Studio. Okay, that's one person. Is anyone online who wants to participate? I don't know. Guys, write in the question and answer section, by the way. Is anyone going to say anything? I don't know. I don't know who Anonymous is. There's obviously someone who's anonymous. Anonymous, you're gonna have to say your name, by the way, so that we give you a sticker. Again, I will give you this called 24 on my side. I'll give you till 12:25 for someone to produce an answer. If you don't, we continue. I will wait. Do we have any contending answer or everyone is saying Power Apps Studio? We good? Okay, cool. This is 12:25. I am checking if there's any answer in the group, in the teams. If there isn't, unfortunately, I'm continuing. Nope. Nah. Okay, no answers. So Power Apps Studio. We'll see if that's correct. Right. Which of these statements about data sources is true? Again, people who are online answer quickly because I'm continuing. In Power Apps, app data comes primarily from your local device. Or B, Power Apps is not able to connect to external data. All data must be stored in the Power Apps app. Or C, Power Apps uses connectors to connect to data sources. If the data source supports it, Power Apps can read and write to the data source. What's the answer?
Okay, yeah. Well, what happened here? Did I turn this off or?
Oh, I think I'm sorry.
Pretty sure I did something. Yeah, we're good. Very sorry. But okay, so where is that? There we go. What we got? Okay, awesome. Sorry, name again? Mungai, awesome. Answer from Mungai there. And the last one. Anything from the group? I doubt it again. Yeah, people in the group are really quiet. Okay. Power Apps automatically create 3 screens for me when you bind an app from a data source. Which of these is not one of the screens, right? Which of these is not one of the screens? There's the browse screen, there's the edit screen, there's the new screen, and there's the detail screen. Which one is wrong? Okay, I got that good. Yeah, new screen. Okay, so we're about to check this out. Hopefully everyone here is correct. So we got one answer from Nashe, one answer from Mungai, one from Takuzwa. 3, 2, 1. And they're all correct. So each one of you is getting a sticker. Congratulations. And I'm ending it there because that does it. And that pretty much does it for today. So congratulations on creating your first app with Power Apps. In this module, you've discovered what Power Apps can do for your business and the building blocks of creating your first app. You then created an app from the Microsoft Excel workbook. Additionally, you learned that to create and administer your apps, you will use make.powerapps.com, the Power Apps Studio, and the Power Apps Admin Center. The power of Power Apps comes from the ability to connect to related technologies in your business. Examples are Microsoft Dataverse, Power Automate, SharePoint, and other data sources. You can create an app by using several different methods. Some of these methods include a template, a data source like Microsoft SharePoint, or a blank canvas. There's more that you can check. Of course, there's create your first app over here, which is actually a YouTube video. You guys should check that out. There's stuff about licensing, pricing, Power Automate, and everything else. But as is done with Microsoft Learn, at the end of every Microsoft Learn tutorial, there's an achievement. If you've been tracking here, I've been gaining XP, kind of like what you do in a video game, but you sort of level up as you learn more, and as you learn more, you kind of unlock certain benefits, some of those certifications we talked about sometimes, and so on and so forth. But let's unlock our achievement. And a cool thing about unlocking an achievement, you can share this, of course, but I mean, you can take a picture of this and save it, of course, but you can also share it on your social media, so Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, if you're, LinkedIn, sorry, if you're that sort of person, but awesome. Right, so that pretty much does it for Power Apps. Now we're just going to jump into the Imagine Cup for like a few minutes because I know that people are a little busy and I don't want to cause too much problems. So let's just go to Imagine. I believe sorry. Right, I believe I'd already opened this up. So let's see if I can load the Microsoft Imagine Cup site. Hurry up, please. Wow, Firefox is not my friend today at all. Okay, pretty sure I would just search Microsoft Imagine Cup and find what I need to here. Let's see. Yeah, student developer competitions, Microsoft Imagine Cup.
Right, so we've talked about this in our first session. We're talking about it again. This is the Microsoft Imagine Cup. Okay, it's, as I said, an international competition that Microsoft hosts pretty much every year, and it has people from all over the world competing. Along with that, it also has amazing prizes, right? So maybe let's just talk about this for a bit. Why you should enter. The Imagine Cup is full of opportunities to gain more skills, access exclusive training, unlock mentorship opportunities, and have the choice to win and have the chance to win great prizes and make a difference, right? So you're going out there, you're making something that hopefully makes a difference, and you're getting a lot of rewards for it, to put it in simple terms. Over 2 million competitors, over 100 countries. You could win training and mentorship from Microsoft experts, networking with industry pros, the chance to showcase your idea, and cash to continue taking your project to the next level. This is the competition schedule for the coming year. Right now, there's registration and submission, and that's from now to January 2022. So this is when you guys should really start thinking about this and start registering. And yes, we will enter as MSA, but also this is a community that's growing bigger and bigger. There should definitely not be one team from this group. Okay, I will support each and every person that has their idea, decides to make something with a friend of theirs or a few friends. And this is also one of those things where we actually encourage doing it together with other people, because it's a lot and it'll be a lot of pressure. And if you want to really manage it well, probably get 1 or 2 people to help you out, minimum. And then there's the World Finals. Sorry, there's the online semifinals in February. There's the World Finals, which is to be announced, and there's the World Championship. So it's big. It's really big. And we hope both everyone in here and everyone who's, what's it called, who's been online can try and jump into it. So there's also this year is the 20th anniversary of the Imagine Cup. So I'll share the link to the Imagine Cup website in the Student Ambassadors group again, and you guys can check that out. Check out videos of previous winners. Check out some of their projects. Don't be intimidated. I think what you should think about most really is think about where you live or the community you're in and what you think you could build to make things better. So in other words, yes, you might see people building prosthetic or robotic limbs and all that, and you might think, oh, I can't make anything like that. That's fine. That's what their community or wherever they were coming from needed. You might make something that's seemingly very simple, but would be very effective where you're from, and that could still be a very big thing. So don't look down on yourself. Don't think it's not important. Don't think you can't do anything with it. Trust me, you can. All you have to do is get well, imagine it, as I said. So let's try and get into that, and hopefully some of you guys can get into it. Over here is actually saying why compete, but as you said, right? Shape your world, build your skills, realize your passion, because trust me, competitions like this can unlock a huge part in just knowing what you want to do with the rest of your life or your career. I should know personally, I've been in a similar entrepreneurship competition, and it's sort of what set the path of what I'm still doing now as far as computer science and so on is concerned. So we've already talked about prices, some of the competitors from past years, and yeah, there's a lot, guys. Okay, there's a lot. So I'll again send the link to the site, and I think you guys will be able to add your thoughts from in there. I guess I'm going to open up the floor to a few, to a few questions right now before we get going and go on the rest of our weekends. Anyone who has a question, whether here or, oh, look, question and answer 6.
Tadiwa answered later on. I'm sorry, Tadiwa. You know what, Tadiwa, you can come see me. I'll try and see if I have anything for you anyway, just because I don't want you to feel left out. Yeah, he would probably hate me for this. But yeah, everyone else, please, we're opening up the floor to any questions at all about Power Apps, about Microsoft Student Ambassadors, about anything else that you feel you need to ask here. Yeah, I think we'll just do the next 10 minutes of that and then close off. So any questions from anyone? Maybe how to sign up for Microsoft Learn if you don't know that, how to set up Teams on your computer because some people are having issues. Anything, talk to me, here for you. Nothing? No one? Yes.
Microsoft account for all those
for Teams and Learn, yes?
For Teams and Learn in one studio or studio.
Yes. If you're especially if you're doing it through Learn, I believe you've got like a little time to actually you get, I believe, some credits to try it out anyway. So even if you're not using a business account, I believe so. If there's any issues though, of course, I think I can set something up so that you guys can try it out and start building some of this stuff. Another thing about Power Apps, because I know the big draw for a lot of you is just that it might be easy to work with, but there's also the thing that Microsoft is actually doing a huge push on Power Apps at the moment, including recruiting people from all over the world for jobs that are associated with Power Apps. So anyone who might, some of you might know this, working in the tech industry is not just about knowing your code or knowing your stuff. It's about knowing maybe where to sometimes focus on, which things are in demand or which tools are in demand. And if you can do that, and right now Power Apps, as far as Microsoft is concerned, is kind of in demand. So if you can learn it quickly and scale up quickly, you could probably do a few awesome things with it. And you know, help your future, make some money, tease Zimbabwe. Everyone thinks of it as. Let's be honest. So yeah, something to think about. But definitely try it out. If anything is going wrong, I'll personally help you set up. So yeah, just set up a Microsoft account. Personally, I would say for you guys, if you can, for Microsoft Learn and stuff, try and use personal accounts, not the student ones. The main reason for that is student ones are controlled by HITs. They might have certain privileges revoked or certain things that they're not allowed to do. But on the other hand, your personal account is a personal account. You do whatever you want with it to continue. You can do both. You can try out both and maybe see the benefits or disadvantages of both. But as long as you have a Microsoft account now, you can set up Learn, you can set up Teams. It should be easy, right? Cool. Anything else? Anything else? I'm going to start going person by person and asking if they have questions, because I know some of you people are just shy to talk. That was anything? You sure? I mean, okay, you're leading the session, so you know your stuff. Cool. Fine. Sid, how about you? Okay. Najib?
I think you have a question, some suggestions.
Yeah.
Probably have people in part 3 right now
Uh-huh.
that are doing one session.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to just encourage them to try out more apps in whatever companies they're working in right now.
Exactly.
I know for my attachment period, at some point we're required to have some applicators that we can use to manage workflow within the company.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had known that Power Apps
exist, you'd have served yourself.
I knew they existed, but I hadn't tried the parts to this extent. Now I can see that the possibility, the potential to actually change the eventually again, and you can actually put this on your attachment report. They actually produce this application that's helping
into the workflow for our companies. Yeah.
And like change this with the company. And since I'm still working, I actually have a couple ideas how to implement the company working at right now using Power Apps.
Awesome. That we can help out. So even if you're not in part 3, that's something to think about when you go on your internship year. If there is anyone who's on the internship year listening, pay attention because it will be very, very useful for you.
try and use Power Apps or try and introduce Power Apps to your workflow. Trust me, it makes things easy.
And maybe one other thing.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to work on a Power App application for their students, actually get us up and something that as soon as possible.
Oh, so just for sort of for student ambassadors or just for students at HIT?
For students.
Yeah. So if you guys want to do a Power App for HIT students, join in. I know there's some people from UZ who are here, so maybe you can talk to Takuzo about that, but also in general, if you want some extra pointers, you can hit me up personally in the student ambassadors group or on my personal contact details, and we can help you do something like that for yourselves as well. So that's great. Anyone else? You sure? Nothing. Completely. Or you tried this out? Well, guys are actually looking at a friend, like trying to not look at me directly. I mean it, I'm asking you guys. Well, okay, who's gonna try this out, like in the coming week? He has to, his job depends on it. Apparently everyone else is. Great, good. Hopefully the guys online, you'll try it on as well. Just double check if there is anything from you guys. Nope, seems like nothing. So I think that pretty much rounds it up for today. Thanks again for everyone who came. It's been really, really awesome talking to you guys, getting to know some of you, and just sharing this, because again, that's what the community is all about. So catch you guys in the next one. I think our next session might be a guest session that we're doing with DSC as well, so that should be fun. But we'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, you guys have a great weekend, have a great week, have some fun, learn some new skills, and keep going. And check out the Imagine Camp. Trust me, it's that great. But yeah, that's about it. Bye guys. 3, 2. No, not cancel. End. Okay. End meeting, please.